me again, Tisha, from the Frisco East Campus. I'm back with my friend, JD Tomlin, today. We were able to talk last session. If you haven't listened to it yet, go back and listen to it. We're talking about dating and talking to your kids about dating in the next 4 sessions. If you are watching on YouTube today, you are probably getting a black screen. That's because we did not video record, only audio record this dating series, but you can still listen even if you're on YouTube. So just hit play and listen to some of the wisdom that my friend JD is bringing. If you were with us last time, you heard JD in his introduction. He's got 4 young adult kids, and so he's navigated the teenage dating world just a little bit. And so this session, we are talking about expectations and standards of dating. So, JD, welcome again.
Thanks, Tisha. I've always been told to have a face for radio, so I get it. Not doing a video today. I'm cool with that.
No video, just audio. But you know what? The content's still going to be great.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we're so excited. So, JD, I'd love to ask you, what are some expectations that you and your family had when it came to your kids dating?
Great question. For us, again, I'm going to speak only for perspective of Heather and JD Tomlin.
Yeah.
If she were here today, she would have much more wisdom than I have in this. But, one of the expectations we've been in a family that I believe in chivalry. I think chivalry is not dead.
Yeah.
For our son, I think that means not just respect or opening the door for someone else or being a gentleman and what that looks like. But for our daughters, especially, what does it mean to be treated with respect and honor? And interestingly enough, our oldest daughter, Brittany, having this conversation recently with the kids, she said, Dad, I think you and Mom treated each one of us differently and respected us as our own person.
Ooh, that's good.
And that we felt supported, encouraged, loved, and cherished. And so when she was at the place, when she met her now husband in college and they started dating, she said that respect and loyalty were the primary attributes that she looked for in a future spouse. And I think that even goes back to teenage dating years.
Absolutely.
If someone doesn't respect you and is not kind to you and is not respectful of your boundaries and what your expectations are, then those are issues that need to be discussed with your kids.
Absolutely.
One of the recent post that I made on my Facebook page. If you want to follow that, JD Tomlin is my page. One parent in this topic quoted something that I thought was really good. She said, "Get honest with people about who you are, what you want, and how you expect to be treated. Standards only scare off people not meant for you."
Ooh.
And I think the expectations that Heather and I have with our kids are simply that. Know who you are.
Yeah.
Know whose you are.
That's good.
And not when I say whose you are, I don't mean just Heather's and JD's kids. Our family comes from a perspective of Heather and I got a lot of insight and wisdom from the Bible, from other people that have mentored us along the years of our marriage. But this conversation is just for parents of teens.
Yeah.
Whether you're a parent that happens to be a follower of Christ or not, it doesn't matter. If you get in a river, the rapids are the same.
Yeah.
You grab an oar and you row.
Yeah.
And so as parents of teens, we're in this river navigating some rapids, and some of those rapids are still and calm. And then the next moment, they can be tumultuous. They can be class 5 or class 6.
You're just hanging on for dear life.
And that can all happen in the same minute.
Yes, for sure.
And so I know, having been a parent of teen and having worked with teens for many years as well, just helping kids navigate this topic, I think it's real different than even how I grew up, to be honest, Tisha. So, I like to jokingly say I grew up before World War I, but, even in the 80s and the 90s,
JD,
when I was a kid, college kid, it was just a very different world even than it is today. I think expectations and temptations, social media and the pressure that puts on kids, putting their relationship on display and for the world to see, I think those can be really toxic. I think we've got to communicate with our kids of just having some boundaries having a healthy conversation with the other gender,
Yeah.
whoever they're dating, that you build a relationship with them.
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll talk about that in a moment,
Yeah.
because I think that's huge.
Yeah.
And so Heather and I are on the same page in this topic, and we talk about it with our kids when they were young, when they were teenagers, even
Yeah.
now as adults. And communication has been key in our family.
Yeah.
I think for helping our kids have a healthy respect for dating.
Yeah. So when you think about how you communicated these expectations to your kids, I know in our last episode, you talked a lot about your home was always open. Your kids were never scared to maybe bring up subjects with you that might be more difficult for teenagers to talk to their kids about. And so around the dinner table, I know you mentioned that. These were the times that you kind of communicated some of these expectations with your kids just through open dialogue. Did you have specific one-on-one conversations with them when you talked about these expectations? Like when you talked about them, like what environment kind of was it in?
Absolutely. We've always been involved in whatever our kids enjoy doing.
Yeah.
And so whether it might have been coaching a particular sport of theirs or traveling or wherever and whenever, Heather and I, one-on-one with our kids, were always very intentional.
Yeah.
I never was the dad that would say, well, let's wait until we get home and mom can talk to you about
Yeah.
that. I mean, I've just been willing and able to handle and tackle uncomfortable conversations
Yeah.
with my daughters.
That's
My
good.
wife would do so with our son.
Yeah.
And then
As
we would
parents,
all do so
we
together.
have to learn how to do that, right?
Absolutely. We've got to lean
Yeah.
into discomfort. I mean, if
Yeah.
you're a parent of a teen, you will face discomfort if you haven't yet.
100%.
Get ready, lean in.
It's like, okay, well, here we go. We're diving in.
And I'll tell you, one author that's been really instrumental for Heather and I for years in not just having a healthy marriage and a healthy home life and healthy relationship with our kids is an author named Brene Brown.
Okay,
and she just all about leaning into what's hard and what's uncomfortable,
being vulnerable.
and I think raising teens is vulnerable in and of itself.
100%.
But
yeah.
you got to lean in,
Yeah.
and you got to be available, and you got to be
That's so good.
intentional.
Yeah. When you obviously dating comes with a level of physical, oftentimes when you communicated with your kids about physical boundaries, like what kind of maybe communications did you have with them about maintaining certain physical boundaries or not crossing certain lines? I think parents are curious about that for their own teenagers and probably would love someone to speak into that a little bit.
I love that. Our kids wanted to know and do know everything about Heather's and my life before we married.
Yeah.
What that looked like, what kind of relationships I had, what she had. And so they not only know where we came from,
Yeah.
but also how we live. They
Yeah.
watch our marriage. We have healthy affection for one another. So I think our kids, when they were growing up, it's not too late, parent, wherever you are, whether
Yeah.
you're married or divorced,
That's true.
single, never married, it doesn't matter. The relationships that you have as an adult and the affection that you share with another person is important for your kid and what they're seeing.
Yeah.
And our kids have always seen that, they've heard it, and they've been told, guys, there's certain boundaries that just have to be in place, even when you're married. I mean, that sounds
100%.
weird,
Yeah.
but just because Heather and I are married does not give me the right to do to her anything I want to do whenever
Right.
I want to do it.
Absolutely.
I still respect and cherish her just like
Yeah.
I did when we dated 29 years ago.
Yeah.
And our kids need to hear and understand that this, I know it sounds really conservative, and
Yeah.
I know I sound like somebody from 20, 30, 40 decades ago. But I do think that even in today's society, our kids still need some certain standards and boundaries to
Yeah.
be discussed
Absolutely.
and to be open about. And when it comes to certain respect levels with
Yeah.
who you're dating. And so whether it's holding hands,
Yeah.
whether it's kissing, whatever that is, it needs to be certainly, I think, addressed from, would it be something that you would be comfortable doing in front of the other person's parents?
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
that being said,
That opens a whole lot of doors.
I'm sure
Yeah.
I just lost a few of you right there.
Yeah.
But, I mean, our kids, when they would have a boyfriend or girlfriend or a date over, we would have fun. We would have a game night. The kids would watch a movie. We would leave them alone at times. And there's a word called trust
Yeah.
that I've always had with our kids.
Yeah.
And if they passed or violated some type of trust,
Yeah.
you know what? We forgave,
Yeah.
we discussed, we embraced, and we worked through it.
That's good.
That's always been key for our
Yeah.
family, is a trust and trusting that the decisions that they're making are good and healthy ones that we've emulated in
Yeah.
our own home.
Yeah. And I think what you said too just a minute ago is no matter where you are in the journey, even if you haven't talked to your kids about this yet, it's never too late.
Right.
It's never too late to have open discussion and dialogue with your kids about things that are important. And honestly, relationships are going to be one of the most important things that they ever have, not just dating relationships, but any kind of relationship. It's a part of human beings, a part of human life. One thing that I know working with teenagers, is that your kids are asking questions. They are talking to people. And if they're not talking to you about this kind of stuff, they are talking to someone else. And so, do what you can to make your home, let your home be a place of trust where your kids feel comfortable talking to you about anything that they have going on, because they know that you love them and that you are going to share wisdom with them in a non-condemning, judgmental kind of way. It just opens all kinds of trust doors between you and your students. So awesome, JD. Thanks so much for being with us again. We will be back next week for session 3 of our dating series. Can't wait to have you back again. Parents, thanks for tuning in. Don't forget, you can do this. You're not alone. God is with you, and so are we. We'll see you next week.